Hello and welcome back. Today I'm getting back to basics and talking about 5 downsizing challenges and the tips on how to manage them. This came up because a friend of mine is downsizing to an apartment, right, a good sized apartment. But even so, even though he's done a big declutter and he's done all of the hard work, he's still coming across some basic challenges that had never occurred to him would be part of moving to a smaller space. So let's jump straight into point number 1. Smaller spaces need better tidying habits. And no, I'm not for a moment saying you're untidy in your bigger home. I'm simply saying that the things that were just part of the normal day-to-day living in a larger home, pile of books, magazines, maybe not clearing off the counters all the time. These sorts of things suddenly overwhelm a smaller space really easily, because good living in a smaller, downsized home is all about maintaining that volume, that clutter-free look. And I don't mean minimalism, I just mean that the things need to have homes and they need to go back into them. And you really do need a routine of tidying, of working through and making sure that everything is in its place, clearing off the counters in the evening, tidying your bathroom, hanging up your clothes and putting them away, you know, in the laundry or back in the wardrobe. You may not have a walk-in robe, in which case, you know, you won't have the extra space to sort of perhaps drop something on a chair. Things can get overwhelming so quickly, and I can absolutely tell you that happy living in a smaller space is about using the real estate really well, and that means keeping it tidy. Number 2 of these challenges is a little bit related to the first, in that your old design style may not work in a smaller space. The wonderful collection of colours and layers of interesting things, you know, textiles, cushions, books, decor items, rugs, all of these things which were so fabulous in your older home just may not work in a downsized space. So it isn't that you have to give up your old style, but you can reassess it. And believe me, I am no minimalist. We all know this. I love my books, I love my old little bits and pieces, but it is a matter of maintaining control over them. A few things come into this, like show a little leg. No, not yours. On your furniture, this mid-century style where you have furniture that is off the floor and on legs, and you can see under. Now, the reason that worked so well in those smaller, they were often smaller mid-century style homes and in apartments, is that you get to look through, you get a sight line of the floor, as it were. So it carries on under the furniture, makes them look larger, looks the area look larger than and then it would if it was just right down on the floor, more solid sofa style or coffee table, things like this. Anything you can see through or under, that is something that will work a little better than something that's a lot more solid, takes up a lot more visual space. Now, your decor can stay pretty much the same, but just reduce it, pare it down a little. Put some of your, you know, favorite pieces away. You don't even have to get rid of them if you have space to store them. We'll come to that in a minute. You can put them on a cycle, bring them out with the different seasons, change up a little bit here, a little bit there, refresh your space by using your same pieces. Perhaps not all of them, but at least some of your favorite things. And that way you will maintain all the things that you enjoy and love about your home, but just maybe not all at once. It's the old style. You can have everything you want, just not all at the same time. The other thing that helps really well in a smaller space are mirrors. And I'm not saying overload your place with mirrors, but mirrors that throw light around. Always check with a mirror to see what it's reflecting. You can put one at your front door so you can check yourself on the way out the door. That's fine. It may not have the best reflection if it's in a hallway or whatever, but if you're putting one into a living space, check to see that it's looking out of a window or at a piece of art, just somewhere that it's going to throw some light around, but it's also going to give you another visual another element of space. Like if you see a window, if it reflects a window, then that feels like there is a window and the light coming in from it. These are just little tricks that help. The same goes with keeping the style of your home and the colour, basically the colour palette, fairly consistent from room to room. No, I don't mean same if that's not your thing, but it helps if there's no sort of clashing sort of elements where you move from one space where it's one style into another, into a different colour, into a different sort of approach. So yeah, aim for consistency, and so that it's easy for the eye to travel, and whatever sight lines you get in your smaller space, grab them, because they are the things that make all the difference to feeling like you're in a bigger space. And we all love bigger spaces, but we can't all be in them all the time. Now, number 3 was something that I had not thought about until I moved to an apartment, and that is finding space for the things that you normally buy on a day-to-day, weekly, whatever basis. And so when you go to the supermarket and you do your shopping and you see, oh, okay, they've got X on special, and you'll buy 10 of them because you know you'll use them. You don't anymore because storage is at a premium. The real estate meterage, square feet of your home, whatever, you know, whether it's an apartment, a condo, whatever, that suddenly matters a great deal. Not many of the newer places in particular, but any downsized home has a great deal of storage. I had fabulous storage because I built it. In my last home, I built it in that way because I thought this is just easy, you know, the place for the extra blankets, the extra bathroom supplies, a really good sized pantry. I had a great utility cupboard. I had fabulous laundry space with fabulous storage, all of those things. So everything was just easy to keep tidy, easy to maintain, and stored a lot. Now, that may have been a lot more than many people have in their homes, but some have attics and basements that are full. And so when you are in a smaller space, a downsized space, you want to use your real estate for living in. You can't afford to give it away to storage in the same way. And so you also have to be careful about what you buy. So this means that just have to look away from temptation, know where you store everything, or how much you can store, what size your pantry is, what you can fit in it, what you can't. And have a little bit of discipline about what you buy, no matter how good a deal it is, because if it's going to sit out and you're going to fall over it in your hallway or your entranceway, it's not a good buy. Now, number 4 is something that many people have talked to me about their concerns about downsizing. Some people have raised as an issue from when they have downsized. It's not something that I've had a problem with, but I know that it exists, and that's the day-to-day noise of living in closer density. You know, we're in much closer contact. In smaller places tends to be much more densely packed living space, and as a result, you know, your neighbours are through the wall or on your ceiling or under your feet, wherever you know, if you're in an apartment or a condo, or if you're in a townhouse, they're right next door, and then you don't have a very big gap, and you've got your next door neighbours even closer, you know, just across the fence line. All of these things, there's a certain level of noise that is just normal. Cars come and go, people call out greetings, you know, there are deliveries, particularly these days there are a lot of deliveries. Friends visit with little children, people put on their music and their televisions, and they cook, and there are noises. I'm very aware every time I put on my blender to make my morning protein shake. It's noisy, it's really noisy. I try to do it away from my party wall with my neighbour, but I'm very aware that it's there. Walking around your home, if you have hardwood floors in you know, in an apartment / condo, then you know, you are clonking around on somebody's head, and if you're the person down below, you'll be very aware of it. Now, these are things that can become quite disturbing to people who have been used to a large amount of space and very little noise from their neighbours or neighbourhoods. Now, I live in an area, there are 16 homes of us all together, 8 and 8, and I know everyone here. So that's my first tip. Get to know your neighbours. And I don't mean be pushy, I mean friendly, courteous, and giving space for privacy. So it's hello, how are you? I hope you're having a good day. And you get on with your day. If they want to stop and chat, yeah, and you feel like it as well. And honestly, these days, sometimes through these, what are we up to here in Melbourne? I think in the last 18 months, we've had something like 240, we're over 240 days of lockdown, and it's still going on. So sometimes walking down and checking on my post is the social highlight of my day. Bumping into neighbours, socially distanced and wearing a mask, of course. You know, that's a wonderful thing, but I make a point of at least knowing all my neighbours by nodding, you know, at nodding level, and hello, how are you, hope things going well. And there's nothing like putting a name and a face to a person to reduce anxiety about the noise they make. You know, and if they have their TV up a little loud sometimes, does it really matter? I have perfected the art of using a noise-making white noise machine to, sometimes if there's a bit of noise around, I'll put that on. Actually, to be fair, it's my Alexa, but I don't want to say that because you know she'll answer. And I just put it on for the surf noise or something like that, forest sounds, and you can put it on a loop and it runs all night. During summer, I always run a fan the whole night long, and that's something about that white noise of the fan plus the airflow means that it's just easier to sleep. I always sleep with the window open, and it is pretty quiet around here. It's a very quiet neighbourhood, and even though the age group in this block range from very young, just starting out young professionals through to me, we all get on really well. There are people with little children, there are people with older children, you know, still living at home, young couples. Look, it's just such a nice mix, but a big part of that is accepting it and not fighting against it and getting anxious about it. And you know, it provides wonderful security because there's always somebody around. I have never felt anxious living on my own because I'm not. And if anything goes wrong, there's a neighbour. You can knock on the door and ask a neighbour for help. And if you know them a little bit, know their names, that's a really good start. So it does take a little bit of getting used to. I wasn't sure how I would go along with it. It's been fine. In fact, it's been wonderful, and I really love it. So number 5, and yes, you know I'm going to mention it, less space equals less stuff, and that means a really serious declutter. And while I've said yes, bring along the things you love and enjoy them and make the most out of your space, you know, real estate, by having refreshing cycles of your decor and things, a lot of stuff does have to go. There is no doubt about it, and that's why I've been helping my friend out with his sentimental items, because, you know, he's finding it hard, and you can't ever make anybody's decisions for them about this, but it does help to have a buddy along with you while you're doing it, and it does help to have a good vision of where you're going and why you're putting yourself through this. So those are sorts of things. And then there are the other ways of sort of maintaining contact, emotional, visual contact with things, even if you don't keep them. And I've talked about those in one of my most popular videos, and it's up here. I'll put it up here. And I'm thinking I'll be doing a lot more of this in the future, because I think when it comes down to it, dealing with those difficult emotional attachments to sentimental items is, I think, probably the biggest challenge for most people, many people, shall I say, who are doing this. And while in this case I'm working through it with a man, I think women in general, I think women find it harder. That's just, you know, that's anecdotal evidence that we are more attached to the things that we have built our homes around. So it's an ongoing process. You can't keep all the puppies, no matter how cute they are, or kittens. Kittens are also very cute. Can't keep them all, and you do have to be selective. So it is hard. There's no getting past it, but there are processes that help you to do it. And I hope if you go and look on my video and see things that will help you, and drop me a line, drop me a note down in the comments to tell me about the things that you find the hardest about decluttering. I hate to use the word decluttering when it comes to sentimental possessions, because it was never clutter. It was just stuff we liked and that had meaning and layers of meaning for us and helped to be part of our home and building that feeling of home. So I don't know what the word is, but depossessing perhaps the things that have made our homes beautiful over the years and have meant a lot to us. It's very, very hard, but you cannot take it all. And that is one of the things about downsizing, is managing to tease out the things that mean a great deal from the things that mean, yeah, they're meaningful, but I can let them go, as long as I've perhaps found a way to get in touch with the feelings related to them, perhaps found a way to remember them in the future. All of those sorts of things, really important, and we can go into more depth if you would like me to. So that's me for the day. I'm sorry about this terrible light. I think we're about to have a thunderstorm here. So I started out with decent light, and now it's almost black outside and it's midday. I hope that you'll come back and join me and subscribe, come along, give me a thumbs up. It really helps my little channel if you do. Share it, that's a huge help to me if you share it to family and friends who you might think might find a little way here and something that's important for them. And if you want to stay with the journey through October. I think I'll be doing some decluttering of my own and a bit of cleaning, because I think I really do need a good refresh. And even though I did a September refresh, I think with the spring coming, so you wouldn't believe it if you looked outside, it's just going to be more necessary as I go through. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.